of all, thank you so much, Kashmir and Rise, for inviting. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that just warmed my heart. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for, number one, having me and asking me to be here, because it does mean a lot to me to be able to continue to share my mission with you guys and to hopefully help moms realize that you're not alone and that there is a way, I promise. And so, sorry, I'm trying not to get distracted by children because they're not mine. So initially when Kashmir had asked me to do this and she told me it was all about balancing mom and business and all that, I was like, I don't know if I'm the right person to do it because I don't believe in it. And I know you're all looking at me like I'm crazy, right? I don't believe in that like buzzword of work-life balance. That's just not me. It doesn't exist. If you're constantly looking for that, you're always going to be unhappy, period. Okay. So we're going to kind of debunk that tonight with, hopefully you guys are going to get on board with me if you haven't already. Okay. But it just doesn't exist. And when I was, I used to recruit a lot of people for a business that I worked for, and everybody was always telling me that they wanted work-life balance. I'm sorry, that does not exist. And it doesn't exist if you are 20, and it doesn't exist if you are a mother and 30 or whatever age you might be. Okay. It doesn't exist. And it's really because at certain points of your life, your family is going to need a whole lot more attention than your business. And at other points, your business is going to need a whole lot more attention than your family. It's called life. And life happens, but it's how we react and how we act to it. And something really interesting happened last year, and I'll get into that in a minute. But once I changed my mindset with trying to find like that perfect balance that worked for me and my business and my family, once I stopped trying to do that, all of a sudden, I found this harmony within the chaos of having children. And so it's possible. And there's like a strategy behind it. And it doesn't just happen because we want it to happen. It happens because we actively are working on it. Would you agree with that? Is like, you have to actively work for the life that you want? Yeah? Okay, cool. As long as you haven't lost you yet. Okay, cool. So as moms, we deal with a lot, right? And it doesn't matter if you have an 18-month-old, a few month old, a 15-year-old, it doesn't matter. We're doing a lot of different activities to make sure that they're thriving at whatever age they're in, right? So we have a lot going on in our brains all the time. Would you agree with that? All the time, strictly about our children, let alone everything else that we're thinking about all the time. I mean, there's like school drop-offs, pickups, sporting events, let alone the economy and inflation with all the things. So how are we going to pay for all these things that are going on? Okay. All these extra activities. Can we afford it? Can we not? As well as like the time responsibility to be able to do all of those things. It doesn't just like magically happen. And then of course, like the support aspect. Do you have a support team? If young parents, maybe you move away, military, I know we had somebody military here, right? If you move away from your family, maybe you don't have that support that other people have, right? So do you have a network of people? Look around the room. Here's your network, you guys. Okay. Do you have a network of people that understand what you're going through and will help you when you need help? It's not easy. It doesn't just come. You have to work for it, but it's worth it. Right? But these are all challenges that we all deal with and that are all going through our brains every single day in one way or another. Okay. So then we get to the business side of it and you're figuring out, okay, branding, marketing, keeping up with social media. What are we doing? Are we keeping up with the Joneses or are we focusing on what we're doing? Do we just keep forward, keeping on our path, or are we like really trying to like reinvent the wheel? Okay. So there's all these different avenues that our brains are going every single day, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but guess what? Life's not easy. So I want to introduce a concept to you because we talked about briefly that I don't believe in work-life balance. That catchphrase, work-life balance. I don't believe in it. Hopefully we can be friends because I see you nodding. Okay, cool. So I don't believe in work-life balance, but I want to introduce the idea of work-life integration. Okay. So you can integrate your work and your family life and really create harmony between the two. So often I hear business coaches online talk about working 5 days a week, cutting off nights, not working weekends. Sounds nice. But as a mom, that's not necessarily realistic because I'm at a sporting event. I'm dropping my kids off at school. I'm picking them up. I'm doing all these different things. When am I working? Sometimes it's while my kids are asleep. Sometimes it's while my husband's not home and I'm able to do it on the weekend. But once you stop trying to just put your business in this like perfect box that everybody says it should be, all of a sudden you start to find peace with that. Because what we're doing in our brains is constantly comparing ourselves to others, even though we don't want to. I know, everybody's telling you don't compare yourself to somebody else, but we are. Okay, it's like human nature to compare yourself to somebody else next to you. It's why social media can be very dangerous, especially for children. Okay, it's because they're constantly comparing themselves to another business or another business for you guys, right? Or what are they doing? Wow, they're posting this much, they're getting this much traction. I should be doing that too. Why can't I do that? Now you start beating yourself up because you're not doing it. That's not your journey. That's not your path. You are on your path and you're able to create your own story and journey. What works for you and your business and your family, and you have to create a strategy behind it because it's not just going to magically happen when you wake up one day. Okay? So, hi, my name's Miriam. Long story short. Okay. I actually never went to school for business specifically. I went to school for culinary arts and hospitality management at one of the top culinary schools in the country back east, and loved it. Totally my passion. Definitely got a lot of my business sense from there because I did get my bachelor's degree and we had to learn all the things about all business. Okay. But that wasn't necessarily the path that I'm on now. Wasn't when I was 18, 19 years old, what I actually intended to do. I fell in love with this man. He's now my husband. And, now we're 13 years in. I was a stay-at-home mom for 3 years while my son was little because we couldn't afford to get any type of childcare. And at the time, it actually made a lot more sense to stay home because we couldn't afford to do that we could afford for me to stay home and cut that whole income out, which is crazy. Okay. That's insane, but it's still the case for a lot of families and it's only worse now. And I don't think enough people are talking about this, honestly, but it's so true. Is like we as stay-at-home moms get put in this situation that we definitely want to be able to provide for our family and help with the income coming in, right? We all want that. But also at the same time, we want to embrace being home with our children at this time because they're only this young for so long. So at the time I was kind of tossed up. We were really living very like bare minimum at the time. And we were in the Bay Area and I had started, everybody's like, yeah, okay. Okay. Yes. We were in the Bay Area and it's where I met my husband. He was born and raised there. We moved out here about 4 years ago during the pandemic, like many other Bay Arean people. And I had really not understood what it took to be able to be a mom and be as present as I wanted to be and run a business. I didn't understand it. I didn't have necessarily the know-how that I do now and what I get to help moms do. Like this is literally my passion, is being able to help moms be able to figure out those differences, that it is possible, because it is. I failed in that business that I created while he was 2. And I'm now in a business and we'll talk about that later. But during that gap, after my son turned 3, he went to preschool and I went back to work. I was like, well, I've never just stayed home. So guess we're going back to work here. So working in a restaurant though, didn't match what I needed to be able to pick my son up, drop him off. My husband was a general manager at a restaurant as well. It just didn't work. It didn't make sense to be able to go into a restaurant or look for any type of restaurant job for the type of hours. If you ever worked a restaurant, you understand that, okay? It just doesn't work. So I got a 9-to-5 and ended up working my way up very quickly and then left as a senior business operations manager. I ended up expanding their business into 16 territories across 7 different states over the course of 9 years. Last year, I'm going to try not to get emotional, but last year, I got diagnosed with 5 rare brain conditions. My life turned most literally upside down. Nobody could have seen that happen. Looking from the outside in, I was healthy. 35 at the time, I was healthy. I was moving with my kids. I have a very high pain tolerance, is what we learned. And through that, as moms, we don't take care of ourselves. I'm looking at all of you guys, okay? We don't take care of ourselves. We have an ache, we have a pain. It's okay, it will go away. It's fine. This is more important. This tiny human in front of us that I need to keep alive today, that's more important. And I will say, yes, that is important. It is not more important than you, because if you're not there, what does that do to your child? And I know you don't want to think about that, but that was my harsh reality last year when I was told when I was told that in a matter of months I could lose my eyesight and never see again. And if I didn't get stuff fixed, not only would I not be able to see again, but I also may not live. That reality happened very quickly. And all of a sudden, I had to take a step back, which guess what? My 9-to-5 didn't like that. So guess what? I don't work there anymore. Okay. And I already had the business that I have now, which is Ideal Brand and Business Services. I already had that on the side because during the pandemic, they closed. And I was like, cool, I need income. So I took all the skills that I had and created my own business. But at the same time, I was also doing my 9-to-5. So the more stuff that was being put on my plate, the more successful I was being. And it's because during the time that I was in my 9-to-5, I had created life systems that worked, that allowed me to thrive in my business, like in my 9-to-5, allowed me to thrive and grow very quickly from an entry level into a senior operations manager overseeing a lot of territories across the country, okay, to opening my own business and being able to be successful at that. Right? So I decided, instead of during the worst time of me and my family's life, I decided to go all in on me. Forget about this 9-to-5 and let's continue my business on my terms and grow this sucker to really see what we're able to do. So during the worst time of my life, I worked less than I'd ever worked before because I physically and mentally could not do it. And my business grew. Okay. Do you think that was by accident? No. It's because there was a strategy behind it and all the systems that I put in place before I needed them to work. So I encourage you, total side note, is that if you think you don't need business like operations right now because your business is small, trust me, you need them. Because life will happen and you can then let it work for you. You don't need to physically work and it will still continue to produce for you. And you're able to grow your business without you physically doing things. Isn't that nice? Right? So needless to say, I went in all in on my business. And what I saw was that when I stopped searching for a perfect balance, when I stopped focusing on the life that I wanted and embraced the one that I had, even with the crappy cards that I was dealt, and went through this really dark period of the why me, why us period. Okay. Forget about that. I was here and this was given to me. And why I'm sharing this with you today is not for your sympathy by any means, but it's for you to really realize that you need to live in every moment. And that is 100% what I did last year to now, is I have lived in every single moment that I'm in, and I will not split my time. So you will not see me at a sporting event on my phone anymore. You will not see me in gym on my phone anymore. You won't do it. Where before, you absolutely would see me on my phone, answering an email, whatever. You don't see me do those things anymore because if I'm at that sporting event, I'm watching my son play baseball. He's only going to play baseball for so long, and I want to see every single moment. I want to see the home run that he just did for the first time. I want to see my daughter do her first whatever on a beam, right? Like, I want to see those. I want to embrace those moments. That's why we're moms, is to be in those moments and to have those memories. Why else do we work so hard if we're not going to live in those moments? Okay, so I did find that I could do more with actually doing less. Okay, and it's just by systems. And I was able to do it without the stress. And I was able to become the mom that my kids actually deserved. Not to say that I was a bad mom, right? But I wasn't splitting my time. They got a lot more attention from me. And I also became focused on all of those moments that mattered the most to me. So I want to remind you, time is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. Are you embracing the moments that matter the most with your family? Or are you splitting your time? Because if you're splitting your time, it's time to strategize and figure out your priorities. Okay. So I have a worksheet here for you. Hold on. Do you mind taking one and passing it around? Can I just have one though? Perfect. So I have this worksheet here for you guys. You don't have to do it now if you don't want to. Take it with you. Totally fine. But basically, it's for you to write down your priorities, both in your business and in your family. Okay. And this is where you start to create boundaries. Okay. Instead of always thinking the next thing that you want to do, You have to think about the bigger picture. And I know we were talking about this before, is like, I kind of revamped my business even just in the last like 45 days. Okay. And it's really because it wasn't aligned with my priorities. So you have to make sure that you're focused on your priorities. This is how you're going to gain harmony, through integrating. Okay. Because once you decide what the priorities are between your family or your personal life and your business, these are the clear boundaries that you're creating for your life. And then saying no to whatever, it doesn't hurt anymore. That mom guilt goes away. And I know you're all thinking I'm crazy because that mom guilt is real. Okay. But it's not there because you have very strict priorities. And if it's not aligned with that, it's a lot easier to say no. Okay. And changing your mindset around this whole idea, you will all of a sudden see a shift in just your happiness, your overall well-being. Okay. Your mental health is so important. Okay. And I cannot stress it enough that if this isn't a priority of yours, it should be. Okay. So basically, I help mompreneurs streamline their businesses so that they can focus on what they are most passionate about and be able to ultimately gain that harmony between their family and their businesses, without like that added stress and chaos that we all have. There's a system, there's a strategy behind it all, and you can have that as well, because I really do want you to live in all those moments that do matter the most. There are 3 different ways to be able to work with me if you are interested in any of that. I do one-on-one coaching transformations. So it's really tailored to you, your unique business, your unique situation, because there are no 2 families that are the same. And same with businesses. There are no 2 businesses that are the same. So it's really tailored to you. There's also a Mompreneur Collective Evolution, which is actually a mastermind, 12 weeks, that's happening this September. So I encourage you to get on the wait list for that. And then there is also Business Harmony Accelerator, which really takes things off your plate so that you can, again, get back to what you're passionate about and focus on, and get rid of the things that aren't. Because honestly, it's not worth it to stress over it. It's not. So I'm just going to give you really quickly a few different reasons why you want to be able to streamline your business outside of what I just told you. But streamlining ultimately refers to the process of optimizing and improving various aspects of your operations to enhance productivity, production, and overall performance of your business. So it's ultimately less time working and more time with your family and creating all those memories. Okay. So benefits of streaming, number 1 is going to be increased efficiency. Right? So easier to get it done, eliminating inefficiency in workflows, bottlenecks, allowing you to be more present with your family. Number 2 is going to be cost savings. Who likes to save some money? I know, we all do. Okay. So improving profitability, eliminating unnecessary steps, reducing waste depending on what your business actually is, and optimizing resource allocation. Number 3 is enhance productivity, right? So when you're actually working, you're getting really focused, hard work done rather than busy work. And it allows you to really focus on those high value activities. Okay. 4 is improving customer experiences. So it really reduces lead time, minimizing errors, as well as fostering that consistent service. So, which ultimately equals satisfied customers, right? They come back and loyal. Number 5 is better decision making. So if you have accurate data for your business, you're going to be able to make decisions on the fly a lot easier, faster, and more accurate. And so it's just more informed across the board. And then 6 is scalability and adaptability. You're able to really create a foundation for your business that allows you to grow without being stressed about that growth. Okay. We saw it during the pandemic. Businesses went out of business because they weren't able to adapt to the times. Saw a lot of them close, right? I don't want that for you. You're able to adapt based on the times in the marketplace and all the different things. There's constantly new things coming about. And it's really important to understand what to focus on versus what not to focus on. And number 7, the last one, is going to be improved communication and collaboration. So if you have a team, even if you're, a solopreneur, it really helps when you do eventually get somebody on your team to have these systems in place, because now you're able to train it to other people. The goal is not for you to go to your grave doing all of these things forever and always. Okay. The goal is that you can replace yourself in a lot of these tasks, even as a solopreneur. So if you put these systems in place now, it becomes a lot easier to coach and train somebody else and then monitor it moving forward, because you know what needs to happen, and it just is a lot easier. Okay. I want to thank you guys for listening to all of that. That was a lot. But I hope you take this worksheet, and I hope it helps you. I hope you really dig into it. If you want to connect with me on social media really easily, you can just scan that code at the bottom of that form. You'll connect with me on anything. But I hope to connect with each of you tonight. Thank you so much.